Our project today is inspired by these. These are candy jars. We are going to be creating a candy jar for our project. This is what it could look like. Here are the materials that we need. To start, I need to make my jar. Using scratch paper, I'm going to cut it into 4 to create 4 different jars so that I can choose the best for my project. I take one of the quarters, fold it in half. Holding that folded side, I'm going to take my scissors and cut the other side where my edge of the jar is. This is kind of like cutting a heart shape. I open it and there's my jar. That's my first sample. I'm going to play around with some other shapes to get the best looking jar for my project. I take my other pieces of scratch paper and I just experiment to see which jar I like for my project. By trimming a little bit of the edge, I get a different jar. After experimenting with the smaller sample jars, I'm going to take another piece of scratch paper to create my full-size jar. I fold it in half, hot dog style. I'm going to hold the side with the fold, take my scissors, and then cut the edge of my jar. I'm going to retrim the edges until I like the shape of my jar. You want to make sure it's big, but not too big, because we still need to add the lid to the jar. Taking our pencil, we're going to carefully trace that jar onto the white paper. Now let's add the lid to our jar. You can create any lid that you want. The most simple lid that you can do is a very flat lid, just like this. I'm going to create a lid that's a little bit more elaborate. It's going to have another layer on top with a round layer. And then to top it off, I think I'll add like a marble on top. Now I'm going to take this black marker and outline all the pencil lines. Try to go slowly as you can. Keep a steady hand. Move your arm and not your wrist to create those nice smooth lines. Taking a pencil, I'm going to add in a string and a tag that goes around the neck of my jar. This part is totally optional. I think the easiest shape for the tag would be a simple rectangle or square. So I'm going to add that in. I'm going to create a different tag. So with the paper that I have lying around, the scratch paper, I'm going to cut a tag with very unique edges. Now I'm just going to trace that on there. Add the little circle for the hole. And then now I'll add my string that goes through that hole. Sorry about the blurry footage right now, but all we do is just go ahead and outline it with that black marker. Now that we have our jar, we need to add our round candies. Here I have 3 round things to trace the circles. I found that the quarter was a little small, and then the tape there was still too small, so I've decided to take this contact case lid and use that as my tracer. Your perfect tracer could be anything, and it could be any size that you want. Now all I need to do is start tracing my circles. I move my tracer around so that I can make full circles and then do partial circles after. And now I outline all of my candies. Here I'm trying to see if I could use the tracer and use it for my outlining, but I figured that it was just better to do it by hand. After I'm done outlining, I want to go in with my eraser and erase all the pencil lines. Now we can get started on the coloring. Before coloring, I want to show you a few examples of round candies. Round candies come in many different sizes and in many different colors. With these examples, I want you to think outside of the box and do something creative and different. I will keep mine very simple and just create solid colors. I have chosen 4 colors for my candies. I'm going to start with my blue candies. Using light pressure, I'm going to go over this candy here with this blue. I want to make sure that I have some reflection areas. I'm leaving a white area towards the right of my gumball. After going in with light pressure with my light layer, I'm going to go in and add more pressure to create a darker color. So I'm starting at the left side of my gumball, creating a darker layer, pressing a little bit harder, and slowly going towards the right, making sure I leave that white reflection area. To create shadows, I'm going to go in with a black color pencil where there would be shadows, like the bottom of the gumball to the left of the gumball since the light source is on the right. And then there would be shadows where the gumball is meeting another gumball. I'm going to color a few more with the blue color pencil with the same steps, light and then a little bit darker, leaving that white reflection and then adding that black for the shadows. And then I move on with my next color, my pink here. And I'm doing the same steps again. A light layer, a darkest layer, and then that medium layer, and then that white area, and then the shadows. The yellow is probably the hardest color out of the 4, but it's all about that control. Light pressure, heavy pressure, and then medium pressure. And with that black color, it helps add the shadows to the gumballs, which gives it different shades. Here I'm doing my last color, my purple, and then I'll go in and fill the rest of the colors randomly. Again, I'm just using 4 different colors. You can use as many colors as you like. Now let's get started with our lid. I'm going to color my lid with this gray color. I'm going to do the same thing just like I did with the candies. I'm adding my light pressure all around first, and then increase that pressure to create different shades. I'm going to color my string here red. You can use any color you like. To make our jar a little bit more realistic, we are going to add this light blue color around the edges of the jar. I'm creating these lines and they represent the edges of the opening inside the jar, inside the glass. So I'm lightly coloring in some areas and pressing with harder pressure where those lines are. This jar should be clear, so we don't want to color so much with this light blue, but just near the edges, maybe towards the top, and then where there are grooves, like where near the neck of the jar, where there are different grooves where the lid kind of rests on. And you'll notice that I use my eraser to erase some of that light blue when I feel like there might be too much in an area. And that erased area is a lot brighter than its surrounding areas, so that it kind of looks like a reflection on the glass also. For my tag, I've decided to put just a heart and then coloring it with the colors I want. You can put anything on there. You can put some words, the word gumballs, the word free, or a price that you want on there. Anything is fine. And that is it. This is our candy jar. I hope everyone had a great time doing this. I can't wait to see your projects. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.